Right in front of you there, look.
Oh yeah,
there
got it.
Yeah.
See, I told you to put the telly on. Scott Baillie, Professional Trust Group.
Welcome to the Charitable Podcast with me, Simon Burridge.
And me, Rachel Burridge.
Oh, it's down here.
Sweating buckets in here.
No fans, no anything.
So, just so you know, there's going to be a lot of traffic in this podcast because we've had the windows open. Well, we've got the windows open. Because it's too pissing hot, isn't it?
It is hot.
Pissing hot. I think I was going to say bloody.
I'm glad it's not this afternoon.
Yeah, so this is Scott.
Hello.
Hello, Scott. How you doing?
Very good.
Good.
Pleased to be here.
No,
Apparently.
Apparently.
I could be in my nice aircon office, but no.
I was going to suggest, should we go to you and do it?
Yeah, I know.
You'd have probably said, yeah, do that,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I didn't suggest
No,
it.
well, it's too late now.
Anyway, how long before the sign falls?
I've been thinking about this. I'm going to go an hour and 4 minutes.
You're joking.
No, I am, yeah. Well, maybe I'm a bit out of date. The last one I saw was at over an hour.
Oh, mate, you're
one that
well
come
out
out
there.
Friday.
I'm going to
Oh,
give
really?
you another chance.
Okay. I'll go with 4 minutes then.
Just
Shake
cut the hour
off.
down.
Yeah.
Look at it now. Look, it's half falling off now.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's the front.
Yeah,
Well,
the
that'd be
front,
alright
but
then.
it only counts when the full thing falls.
Okay. All right, no, final answer. I'll go 22 minutes.
Right, okay.
Okay.
It's been a
That's it.
while since we've recorded one of these, Rach, isn't it? I forgot what
Really?
we actually do, I think.
Yeah.
I thought you did them every week.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's the magic of
Magic of podcast.
we did do one last week, didn't we? Or was it the week before?
No, week before. We had a wedding last week.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Right. Tell us about yourself,
No,
Scott.
about-
we go to sponsor.
Oh, yes, we do, yeah.
That's the
I'll wait.
We're going to go to sponsors. We're going to go to sponsors.
And that's about it.
That's it.
And then when we get back, the timer will start. And that'll
Okay.
probably be off the wall. by
Okay,
the time.
fine. We'll
Here we
go
go.
again.
Today's sponsors are Medici Associates, Chartered Structural and Civil Engineers.
Based in the UK with a worldwide reach.
Visit their website on demediciassociates.com.
Club Awesome. For autistic children and their families, a place where everyone belongs and fun knows no age limit. And we're back. There we go.
Oh, wow, that was
So
quick.
professional.
What sponsors did you like?
Snug Dubs, he's usually on it.
Well done.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
we've got a listener. We found it.
Yeah, that's right.
We found the one
that
viewer.
keeps
One
looking.
genuine person.
140 subscribers, one
That's a good
listener.
guess, wasn't it, by the sounds of it?
Right, okay.
Right.
Go on
So
then.
where do I start?
Wherever
where
you
shall
want
I
to start.
start?
You can start as soon as you came out of your lovely little mum's.
Well, I didn't anticipate starting there, to be honest.
Okay. I bet your mum, she's so sweet.
I know, she is. She's very, very lovely, very supporting.
I've taken photos of her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she works at my shop. So, I mean, that's
right,
probably a good place
yeah.
to start. So, so I have a shop, which is a retail, obviously it's retail, online and face-to-face shop, which sells products for boats. So it's basically a yacht chandlery. And then I'm also an accountant, and I have an accounts practice, so quite diverse. So that's kind of what I do, what keeps me busy.
So what was the chicken and what was the egg?
Well, no, the boat shop came first. So,
Really?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. So
I see. I would have put money on the account.
no, well, it's kind of So it's a bit. I'll tell you how it came about. So, growing up, I was not interested in any sport. I'm still not really interested in any sport. The Olympics had been and gone. I don't think I watched any of it. Sorry about that. But the only thing I was really interested in was sailing. And so my granddad, he was into sailing, and I was the only one in the family that really got into it. So that's how I kind of sparked my interest. So he taught me how to sail. I mean, he was a calamity sailor. So if there was a rope in the water, he would find it, get around the prop. If there's a sandbank, he would find that as well.
The Uncle Albert.
Oh, yeah, basically, yeah, that's right. Oh, he was just, I mean, he was brilliant, but he kind of taught me how not to do it in a way.
Was he aboard the Montgomery?
Yeah, it could have been. He could have been. Yeah, that's right. He was the captain of that. And so that was that. And so I got into it via that route. And so sailing was my hobby. So I was a customer of that shop, really. As a teenager. It was there before.
Existed,
yeah, it was, yeah. And then I turned about 15, 16 and asked if they had a Saturday job going. And so I did that. And then got to know the owners, really friendly with them. And they were older, they wanted to retire. And I actually quit working there to go and do my accountancy bit. So I left school at 18, went and trained as an accountant. and my first sort of exam was coming up. I thought I've got to stop working at weekends.
Oh, right. So the Chandlery,
Chandlery, yeah,
was sort of like a Saturday job.
Yeah. That's how it came about. So that was the start, and then anyway, I left there, went and did my accountancy bit. Trained with a firm in Kent, who was fantastic. They took loads of us on direct from school at a time when most people had to do a university degree first. And so I trained there. It was great. And after 4 years, I qualified and left there and went to work in London. And one Sunday night, I just had that Sunday night feeling of, I do not want to go to the office tomorrow. Right. There's got to be something else I can do. And so I picked up the phone to the then owners of the business and said, are you ready to retire? And they were, unbeknown to me, and he told me once the deal had completed, they were desperate to retire.
Oh, right.
So, it was really good. Yeah, excellent.
It's almost like fate that you did that.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
In a way it was, yeah. So, and that was in 2011. So, so it's been quite a while.
So I've been to your shop, and it's at Medway Industrial Estate.
That's right, Medway City Estate.
Medway City Estate, that's right, I always get them wrong. And so it's actually, was that the original location?
Yeah, it was. So it's been on the Medway City Estate for a long time. And then, but we moved it. We moved it in 2014 to where it is now. So we just moved around the corner effectively and doubled the size. Right. So,
So how about the location of the accountancy firm? Because they're next to it. They
are
the same.
Well, that came
convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, very convenient. I mean, that came about because, effectively, that's where I started from. It was just me. Someone asked me if I wanted to do their accounts for them. And I thought, yeah, okay, I might as well, just a bit of extra income. That's how it kind of started. And it grew from there, really. So it was just me in an office and working from that location. And then fast forward a number of years, and now we've got an office built on the side of it. And it's grown from that,
right,
really.
Okay.
Amazing.
My God, it's hot in here. I'm sweltering. Oh God! I'm not sure we're going to last an hour on this. God.
I
was looking at Beach.
Just do this. I know. Just do this as a voice one. Take the video off.
Look, you're far away on the picture. Yeah. No one can see you sweating.
Gosh, yeah.
I'll just have to zoom in on edit.
God, I'm literally sweating buckets. I should have put shorts on.
What is it? 30 degrees?
At least.
Yeah. Well, when I drove from work yesterday, it said 38 degrees in my car.
38.
And I was sitting there going, oh my God.
Feels like that in here.
And when you burn your bum on the seat because the seats are leather and you get in and you're like, oh, it's really hot. And then you touch the steering wheel and you're driving like this for about 20 minutes because it's so hot. So, it's very hot.
Got any decent questions for him?
Let's wrap this up. Do you like the heat?
What are you liking at weather?
God almighty.
Did you sail because of the nice breeze? Or?
Yeah, I wish I was out there today.
So I'm still going to carry on the sailing side of it.
Okay, yeah.
For now. So your granddad taught you.
Yes.
Did he ever sort of, not intentionally, but push you overboard?
No, nothing like that. No,
God, I thought she was going to say something really sinister.
No. Like, did he ever sort of like go, oh yeah, do this and then?
No, I mean he basically. I can remember once trying to get out of an inflatable boat onto his boat, and he had wellies on and fell in the water, and then it's like trying to get him out, and it was that all the time basically. I mean he built his first boat in the front room of his house, and in the end, people used to come into it, and it looked like two coffins. He was building a catamaran, and it looked like two coffins in the front room. So people used to come in and be like, "What is that in there?" I'm building a boat. He was a bit eccentric, my granddad, and so I'm building this boat. So he said, "Well, you're never going to get it out."
Oh, yeah, he's built it.
So he said, "No, I've measured it. It'll go out. It'll fine, no problem." So this went on for months while he built this boat. He got my nan to stitch the sails together and all that kind of stuff, and then they brought it down to Cliff Sailing Club.
So it did come out. I had
to take the window out. I forgot that bit. They had to take the window out to get the boat out.
It's extreme.
Yeah, this gives you an idea of how it went. Really, this is pretty much his sailing career. And so the window come out, the boat come out, got it down to Cliff Sailing Club, put it in the water, put the sails up. All the family were gathered to watch this thing. Maiden voyage. He got on it and it sank.
Oh.
That was the end of that. So, but yeah, I mean, that was before my time. That's a story I'm told.
Oh.
So, and then when he retired, he actually bought a kit, like sailing cruiser. And he built that and he said, I'm going to go to work every day. So I'm used to going Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. That's what I'm going to go and do. I'm going to go and build a boat.
Right.
And that's what he did. And so he built that boat, and then it was on the Medway for years. In fact, I think it might still be on the Medway. And yes, it was great. It was really.
Did you ever
good.
see that episode of Grand Designs with that rough old boat on the Medway?
No. Oh yeah.
Like
yeah,
a
that was quite a
barge,
few
wasn't it?
years
A barge,
ago.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
With some sort
I've
of
seen
weird...
that, because it was moored up
I've
by
seen
the cinema, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've flown over on a helicopter.
Oh, have you?
That. Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah, it's near the cinema. Like you
that's
say.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Right, have we got any tissue for this man? Or have we got one of those towels? We've usually got gym towels.
God.
And I haven't done this with the gym towels.
Literally, I'm going to roll my blooming. Look at me.
The thing is,
unbelievable.
though, you're going to go back to the office with a
I know.
six-pack.
6-pack. Oh my goodness. Do you know, I hate doing things on hot days like this as well. And now I come to a room which has got no fan. Windows are covered by blinds.
And we've got no fans either.
You might have after this. That'll do. You're not putting this on the film, are you?
Yeah.
No, don't.
Staying on.
Oh, crikey.
It's got a stain
How
on.
attractive is this?
No, it's fine.
Come and visit my shop.
It's just really hot. Right, should we put the fan? Let's just put the fan on. People are just going to have to deal.
They'll have to get used to
You're going to have to deal with the humming of a fan. But I'm having a coffee. I'm not even sweating, am I?
Oh, no, you're not. Mind you, I've got shorts and a t-shirt on. Look, I've got long sleeve and a suit on. And I'm doing something I'm not very comfortable doing.
What, accounts?
Yeah. Gosh. Glad I didn't put a tie on.
Oh, there we go.
That's better. Oh, I tell you.
That'll tell you what.
That's it. Don't worry about oscillating it. Just put it there.
Straight up his...
Straight up my shorts. Oh, no, not my shorts, my trouser leg.
That's better. Yeah, we just have to deal with that.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yeah, it's still listenable, I think.
Lovely.
Listenable?
I'm not really worried if it isn't, to be honest with you.
Come in, Rach. Hey, here we go.
Oh, wow. What was
Past
that?
4 minutes, wasn't it?
But he said 22 minutes though in the end, didn't
Yeah.
Did you say 22?
Yeah, I did in the end. That was my final answer.
22.
Good job it was recorded.
So that means Simon's going to have to actually do some work now and check.
measure it now. I only like it when they're miles away. Now I've got to put some effort in.
Oh, that fan is like a godsend.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So you had your shop in COVID. What happened there?
I mean, that was... So, I mean, look, retail is hard at the best of times. And in a way, I mean, it's really helped me be a better accountant for my clients.
Okay.
So, because I'm not just learning the theory, I'm in business. I know. At least even I know this.
Scott, I'm sorry.
Because I moved.
82.
I moved.
82. This is, and she still doesn't know.
It's because I got you a fan. Come on.
It was lower beforehand. I've been trying to get your attention the whole podcast.
I think it makes me a better accountant because I'm not just I'm not just an accountant.
You're both sides of the fence.
Yeah, exactly. I can see what it's like. I have taken, unfortunately, I've had to make people redundant. I've seen, ups and downs of retail, currency movements, the effect of Brexit, all those things which have really impacted. And then, of course, COVID, which none of us could have anticipated at all.
Absolutely not.
And I can really, really remember that period of time vividly. And actually, I was watching it as we all were, like in Italy. I think that was the first sort of major country in Europe that was affected and was having lockdowns. But it seemed like that won't come to us. That's something that's still happening somewhere else. And I was actually on a tax update course, and it was a great day. And and I can remember the lecturer saying, "My brother is was he like a surgeon or something like that?" And he said, "We've got about 3 weeks until this hits us." And at that moment, it really sort of dawned on me that, wow, this was in February. Now, of course, we're really seasonal as a chandlery.
Yeah,
we're really seasonal. Our year starts in March, really.
Right,
that's it. When the weather breaks in March, that's it. So, and it was about 3 weeks till sort of mid-March, and I was thinking, we're going to be shut.
Yeah.
And we, as is natural in the industry, you do lots of winter buys. So you take on lots of stock over the winter at great prices. Often you have deferred credit terms, which are all due for payment in March and April. But of course, you're relying on that income to come in around March and April. You've got to pay those quite sizable bills. So I just sort of, the update course had gone at that point, because I just was sitting there thinking, what are we going to do if this happens?
Yeah.
And we'd moved to the new premises, all this kind of stuff. We'd taken on a lot of stock. And actually, we just bought another business. So we just bought an online business about in the December before. And
selling ships.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Right,
so they were once the largest. I think they were once the largest online retailer of chandlery products.
Right.
And a large sort of conglomerate had bought them and didn't really know what to do with it. And it just went out of business, basically. And they had a load of stock and they had a website and all this kind of stuff. So they approached several of us and said, is anyone interested? And I thought, they're going to want too much money for that. So I didn't entertain it. And fortunately, I'm hoping none of the competitors are watching this. Hopefully. So I then came around again. I thought, well, if no one's taking it up, I'm going to ask. So I asked about it. And honestly, the deal I got on it was just amazing. So, I mean, it costs a lot of money right in the middle of winter at a time when we weren't expecting doing it. And so I'd done that. We'd bought a load of stock from them. We bought this website. We'd done all this work. And then COVID started to come across. And I have to say, although this may sound quite bad, I remember thinking, do you remember when that first plane landed in the UK from China? And it was, I can't remember what airfield it came in, but they chartered a specific plane to bring British people back from Wuhan. And I looked at my phone and all these, we sell masks in the shop when you're painting and stuff. And all these masks started selling on the shop. And I thought, people are getting like, this is an overreaction. Like, it's just 20 people that have landed and they're all buying masks.
Right.
Anyway, I thought,
so you're the only person that benefited.
Well, so I logged on to our supplier's website. I thought, oh God, shall I do this? Shall I buy some? So I thought, I'll buy the lot. So I bought all these masks, which actually was nowhere near enough. But so actually that kind of sparked a bit of interest. But anyway, fast forward a little bit to March. We were watching every day the 5 o'clock updates.
I think everyone did.
Exactly, yeah.
It got literally like your daily routine, like brushing your teeth,
literally,
wasn't it?
Yeah. And so we were sat in the office watching these updates. And none of us knew. I had a member of staff, which I think her husband had recently had pneumonia. So she was really fearful of catching it in the shop and then taking it home to her husband. I had another member of staff who was older, and would be susceptible to COVID. And of course, like youngsters as well, who maybe have just bought their first house and all this kind of stuff. And I can remember thinking, I don't know how we're going to get through this, because at that point, no financial support had been announced.
No.
We had so many bills to pay. And I thought the best thing I can do at that point, I'm rabbiting on a little bit, aren't I? But the best thing that I did, I suppose, was talk to the suppliers. So I phoned them all and said, look, none of us actually know what's going to happen here. I'm not going to just shut the doors and turn the phones off and, pretend like I don't owe you money right now, because I do owe you money, as does everybody owe everybody money. And the shops are going to look like they're going to be shut. So I'll be able to pay March's bills, but April, I don't know. But I will, here's my mobile. We'll stay in touch. In hindsight, that was a very good move.
What was their reply?
Thank you. They appreciated it. They got it. They got it completely. They all understood this was something that wasn't just affecting us.
No,
it was affecting everybody. They wouldn't be able to pay their suppliers. They were in the same position, just from a different perspective. But what they appreciated was that I'd made that call. And didn't just, because some competitors literally buried their head, didn't take the phone, shut the shop. And so these people didn't know whether they were going to get their money or not or whatever. So that worked really well. Anyway, I can remember having one-to-one meetings. So I thought, I've got to bring all the staff in, really, and talk to them on one-to-one basis. And, we don't know what's going to happen. So I sat with them all, and they all had their own, issues with it and concerns about it, and whether it's financial or health or whatever it may be. And I can remember the last guy coming in and sitting down. I'd known him for years. And he's a friend of mine from one of the clubs, one of the sailing clubs, and he's retired, and he just wanted a retirement job. So he was, he was like, look, it'll be what it'll be. We'll help get through it and all the rest of it. And I literally broke down because I still didn't know actually how we're going to do this. And I can remember when they announced furlough, that was such a weight off my mind. So at least the staff are sorted. That's them dealt with. That's them looked after now. They can pay their bills. And the rest we can have to just try and deal with. And actually, so we locked down, we shut. We were still able to trade online, and actually we started selling lots of different sort of products. So we started selling like loads of tins of varnish, where people were varnishing their garden benches and doing all jobs at the house. Exactly, So we were doing that. We were selling that sort of stuff.
So would you say the online business sort of stayed alive quite healthily?
Absolutely, yeah. And people were allowed to exercise. At that time, we were one of the few selling electric bikes. So we were selling electric bikes to people folding ones, so they could take them on their boats away with them. And they, I cannot tell you how many bikes we sold in that time. So it still wasn't amazing, but it was so much better than I anticipated. And because of those, funnily enough, because of that business I bought in the December, and the fact we've done all this work to kind of harness the power of that online, the search engine optimization of that online, and bringing it and kind of powering our business. We don't use that as a brand, but we use its kind of backlinks, etc., which go into our website. Our website traffic really took off. And so in hindsight, at the time, I thought, this is the worst thing I could have done is bought this business. I need all the money I can get. But actually, it saved it.
Yeah.
It saved it. And it brought us out stronger at the end of it. And the relationships with the suppliers, because we'd stayed in touch, we were able to pay all of our April bills. We were able to pay all of our bills on time, actually, which I was not expecting to be able to do. And the relationship with suppliers was really so much stronger after that, because we'd had that good communication and we'd stayed in touch. And I think, that kind of set us aside from some others, really.
Absolutely.
So it was, and then of course, I was aware of all the grants and all the things for retail and for leisure industries and all that kind of stuff, the furlough, because I was doing it for my own business. Yeah. My clients were in the same boat. They kind of benefited from that advice as well. It was good. And but the result, we're still feeling the effects of COVID now, right? In business.
I mean, even we are from the wedding industry, because there was nearly 2 years of people not dating, not meeting, not doing any of that. And then it's had a back-on effect of people getting married now.
Yeah, of course.
God, what was our record? 4 cancelled, 1 wedding cancelled 4 times.
Yeah, I think last year was our last COVID wedding.
Really?
Yeah, 3 years on. I think it was.
I've got 4 weddings this month, and I think
this month
still catching up from them. I've done 3. I've got 1 to go.
Blimey.
So yeah.
Is that why the suit's permanently on?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I'll just sort of spray it on.
She's going to go. Just walk into the next one.
Yeah, that's it. Watch another one next. But yeah, so we're still feeling the effects, and retail is really hard now. I mean, we've had one of the wettest summers on record, and we're still in the outdoor industry. I mean, it's been a horrific summer for us, our competitors, our suppliers. So it's definitely not without its challenges. But fortunately, I've got the other business as well, Professional Trust, which helps and allows me to, I suppose, to take risks and do things with the retail business that perhaps I wouldn't be able to do if it was my total bread and butter and my only source of income. I'd be very restricted in terms of being able to do things with that. So that certainly helps.
So when you sort of left school, you knew you wanted to be an accountant.
I wasn't that dull. I am now, but I wasn't at the time. I actually wanted to be a pilot.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Did you not want to follow that up in any way?
Well, so when I left school in 2005, so not long after 9/11.
2005.
Yeah.
It must be similar age to me then.
Yeah.
Similar age to me.
And so no sponsorships were available. You had to pay for everything yourself with no guarantee of a job at the end. And my parents are in business, still are actually. They've been in business for over 40 years. And my dad, it still rings in my ears. He's like, no, you don't pay for your own training. Like, your employer should pay for your training. And you can't, it's not just 10 grand training. It cost you then over 100,000, which you'd have to get a loan for with no guarantee of a job at the end. And actually, the jobs, and I think they're pretty much the same now, starting out salary was in the 20s. Yeah. So to earn a 20-odd thousand pound salary with £100,000 debt just didn't make sense. Yeah. And I still once a week at least say I should have been a pilot, but and I still would love to be. Yeah, but I'm definitely getting too old now. I'd love to have done it. But
are you in a position now where you want to sort of start learning to fly?
I would love to do it. My biggest thing is, and maybe this says more than I realise, but to me, I would love to do it if I had a purpose for it. Right. So, like, if I had family dotted around or family in Europe or something like that, and I had a purpose of thinking, well, I can fly and see them, it'll make it easier to go and see them.
Helicopter or plane?
I'd like to do both in a way. But at the moment, I just think, I certainly wouldn't be able to buy a plane. I'd have to, be a member of a club. You have to fly at least once a month to kind of keep up that membership and everything else. Then you're just kind of paying. I think you'd lose the love of it, really. So if ever something changes where I think I've got a purpose to fly, then I would definitely learn to do it.
But you don't actually own a boat either, do you?
No, barely own a car. No, I don't. I used to. I mean, actually, that's kind of also how I got involved with Pirates Cave, which is the retail business. So at school, I had a paper round at like 13 or whatever, but after that, I then got a job as a part-time weekend assistant in a yacht brokerage. It sounds very grand, but it was based at Hume Marina, so that will probably give you the idea of some of the boats that we were selling. So it was really great. It was like I loved what I was doing, but I was in a position to be able to. Well, my granddad actually said to my nan, "Look, whatever you do, buy Scott a boat because he'll carry it on." She thought I would want a dinghy or something like that, but I didn't want that. I wanted something that I could actually like sleep on and stuff like that. So I found a boat which I can remember was £2,000. And said to my nan about it, and she was mortified, but she did come around to the idea, and it needed a load of work doing to it. So I would go to the shop and buy loads of stuff, paint, wire, all this kind of stuff, rewired the thing, all this as a teenager, and then I sold it, and I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
So then I bought my next one, and I got that for a really good price, and spent a bit of money doing it up, and then sold that one, and then I did it 4 times. And then in the end, at 18, I was at the London Boat Show, and I bought a brand new boat at the boat show, which they were, it took them a bit of convincing that I was able to do that. But yeah, and then I kept that for a number of years. But then friends went away to university, people got jobs, and the weather's normally not great, and I just thought.
Am I right in saying boats are like houses? The prices don't usually drop, do they?
They don't tend to. No, they don't often go up.
No.
But they don't tend to drop. They do tend to hold their value. They're not bad. I mean, it's like a new car, though. If you buy a new car or a new boat, you are going to lose money in that.
Yeah.
But used boats tend to hold their value. Yeah. I mean, COVID, because everyone was getting so many grants.
Desperate, weren't they?
Yeah. But also, but buying boats, you couldn't buy them. There was a shortage of boats.
Wow.
Honestly, there was a shortage of boats. The market was
I suppose
caravans
crazy
as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I know loads of my mates now have got to do caravans and camper vans, and
it's exactly the same. Exactly the same. The boating market just went crazy, and I think we've come off that kind of cliff now slightly with that. That we're now in the we've got high interest rates, all that kind of stuff, which is affecting people's spending power, and now we're feeling the effects of that. So we'll see how long that lasts.
So would you say that was your sort of the most challenging thing you've had to overcome in the industry so far? Either like in the accountancy side as well as...
Yeah, most definitely. Because one thing we said at the start with our accounts is, ultimately we want to get our clients through it.
Yeah.
So when furlough started, remember, it just started for a period of 3 weeks, as did lockdown. So we thought, for 3 weeks' time, we'll all be back open again.
Yeah.
So we made a promise to our clients, which we don't regret doing at all. We made our promise to our clients that we wouldn't charge to do furlough calculations.
Okay.
Because if they were in a need to do furlough,
and they didn't understand it.
Exactly. Then we didn't want to be charging them and kind of, being opportunistic almost about that. We wanted to help our clients get through it. Well, that, of course, went on, I can't even remember now, went on at least till November, because I can remember in something like October it was finished. And we all sort of breathed a sigh of relief thinking, thank God that's over. Like furlough calculations were a nightmare.
And then he looked down at Christmas.
And then it happened again in November. And we thought, no, please. No, not anymore. And it carried on. So, but we stuck to that. We didn't charge our clients for furlough calculations. And actually we did, clients have struggled since, particularly like restaurants and things. But actually, we didn't lose any clients through COVID, which was really good. And I think, we helped. We didn't charge more for doing things if they needed support for getting loans or whatever. If that was genuinely needed for them, we would do that for them and help them. So it was challenging on both sides. We had a real struggle in retail, but then we had a struggle in capacity in the other because we couldn't take people on at that time, really. And we were doing more and more and more work for free to help those clients. It was challenging, definitely challenging. But good experience in a way, and still here. Thank goodness.
You're still here,
yeah. So
So I didn't quite get the name of the online.
So we've got 2. We've got piratescave.co.uk and Anode Outlet.co.uk, which is another one we bought actually.
Anode Outlet.
Yeah, which is all about protecting metals on a boat effectively. It's cathodic protection.
Okay, right, yeah.
So we have that.
So you're basically selling a load of amorite.
Yeah, basically.
I'm right. Yeah.
But it's really good. It's both businesses are great. The other one, again, someone wanted to retire from that and approached us and said, "Would you be interested in buying this online only business?" And we looked at it and thought, "Yeah, why not?"
So I just need to clarify something. So did you rename the online one Pirates Cave?
No, it's always its name.
But it was a different business.
Yes, no. So Pirates Cave was the one that was set up by a couple in 91, I think.
Yeah.
Or even the late 80s. And that was started under the Arches, just down the road from here.
Yeah.
And then moved to Medway City Estates. That was always called Pirates Cave.
Yeah.
And then we obviously went online with it, called Pirates Cave.
Yes.
And then we bought a second business, which was just after COVID, called Anode Outlet, from someone that wanted to retire from that, which was their business, completely separate.
Yes.
And then we've carried that on.
Yeah, but the good online deal you got.
Oh, that was a different business.
Right.
That was another one, which we don't use the name of that. So
don't use.
No,
that's what I'm
I
trying
better
to
not say the name of that actually, but just in case. But
that is now in theory Pirates Cave.
Yeah, exactly. Right, we still own it. We own the brand name. We just don't choose to use it.
Right. Okay.
So everything is under that name, Pirates Cave and Anode Outlet.
Right,
yeah. But and the name Pirates Cave come about because he's passed away now, unfortunately. But the guy that started it up, Mike, he was sat outside the shop one day, down from the Arches here, on a reel of rope, and a supplier came along and said to him, "You look like a pirate sitting outside his cave." And there it was. That was the name Pirates Cave, and it's been around for 30 odd years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah. That was good.
Right.
Good.
Professional trust group.
Yeah.
Which is, in my opinion, a weird name because you don't really know it's accountant at first.
Is it? That's it. Yeah. It's funny you say that. A couple of people have said that.
I've just gained you a load of income by saying that.
Thank you. Yeah, a few people have said that. I don't know. I've always loved the name Professional Trust.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
and group was added on to the end because you couldn't actually incorporate a name of Professional Trust with Company's House because they thought it was a trust anyway. So so we had to add something to the end of it. And actually, my idea for the future, and it seems to be taking quite a while to get there, and whether or not it'll happen is another matter, but the idea of group is to have a business services group. So that actually Professional Trust is not just a firm of chartered accountants. It also can be, and actually BNI is quite a nice outlet for that because you could start to work with people on that basis. But it could be, IT services, it could be marketing, all that kind of stuff. Videography, weddings, you name it. So that kind of thing whereby, you have one number to call and you can talk to someone about all these different aspects. So that's really where the group aspect came from, really.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And that came about from, I never really wanted an accounts practice.
Right, okay.
Which is not great for clients to hear,
I imagine it came about you just dealing with your own accounts and thinking...
Yeah, it was. And I was working for someone at the time that really was kind of their personal finance director in a way. But I ended up dealing with things like sale of property and stuff which, sounds great or interesting, but after a while it's a bit boring. You're dealing with banks and mortgages, and I thought, and also it wasn't very busy, so I was really twiddling my thumbs a lot of the time. And I had, in fact, a family friend was just started out as a contractor, and he said to me over Christmas once, "Would you do my accounts?" And I thought, well, I could do because it's a bit of extra income kind of thing. So I did. He then referred people that were working in his office who were all self-employed. And so very quickly, I sort of had 10, 15 clients that I was looking after while still working full-time and had the shop as well. And it sort of grew from there. And then they referred me to people and they referred me to people. And after 2 years, I thought, actually, I'm too busy with this now. I can't. So I gave up my 9 to 5. And actually, he then said, "Do you want to stay on doing 1 day a week? Because I'd like to retain you effectively." So that really helped kind of cushion me into going full-time self-employed.
Just go on your way.
Exactly, yeah. So that was really helpful. And then it just sort of grew from there, really. But for those sort of 4 years, maybe even longer, I just worked 7 days a week because I would do accounts during the week, shop at the weekend.
Right, yeah.
And then I take leave from work when I was working as well, and just to do the shop, So it was just an awful lot of work to start with. But yeah, it was, I enjoy it and I enjoy work. So
do you manage to get a break now? Do you
definitely do now.
Time
Definitely
to have
do now.
off and go on holidays?
Yeah, absolutely. So Yeah.
He's always away.
I was waiting for you to jump in and say that.
Yeah, we give him so much abuse.
Yeah, I do now. And I know people think it's an excuse, but I cannot just take a week off and stay at home. I can't do that.
No.
Because I would have to go to work or something would crop up.
Yeah.
And because people know you're at home as well, they phone you and say, "Oh, sorry to bother you, but can you just look at this? Or can I talk to you about this?" So you can't get a break. So I do try and go away. And I try and do that a good few times a year. And actually, unfortunately, it doesn't allow, it's not tax deductible, but I do believe it gives you good perspective. So when you're away from everything and you can sit and really think about things, it does give you some ideas to come back with. And it just allows you to remove yourself from the day-to-day.
Like artists, right? Artists will go and draw something. And they either step away from it for a week and then go and look back at it, or they look at it through a mirror just to get a different perspective.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I always come back to stuff that I've done and hate it. Hate it. I would change the tab theory about 30 times, you know? So, yeah, doing what you're doing is the right thing, really.
It does.
Yeah,
I think it does make a big difference.
100%.
You know, even if you're just sitting there, you know, doing nothing effectively and just thinking, you know, I don't often take a book to read or anything like that because I'm just happy just sort of sitting there. And I don't really do sightseeing and stuff. I do try and do a bit, but my idea of a holiday is completely switch off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, completely.
See, we're the
switch
opposite,
off.
aren't we? We can't be just sitting around.
But we don't take.
But we just sit around when we're working.
But we don't take, like, we aren't these people that go on holiday and go, oh, let's take a picture of it. We're like, no, sod this.
Of course.
We are here to actually get memories.
Holiday. Yeah, exactly.
We never take pictures.
Really?
We do it for a living. So,
of course.
But what drives me nuts is someone's gone, should we go on holiday here? So they use the computer. They look, oh, it looks lovely, doesn't it? Or they've watched Wish You Were Here. Oh, it looks lovely. Let's go there. They go there and then watch the holiday through a screen.
Yeah, I know. That is so true. Yeah. It's like concerts.
Yes,
people pay and go to see concerts, and they just watch it through a phone all the time.
I know. What is
I
the
don't
point?
get it. I get the odd, like, taking a photo or a little bit, but when you see people,
if you put your favourite song,
if you've got a mate who couldn't get there and they like this song,
exactly, yeah. But who looks back at those either? You know, you never do that.
No.
So I just think put the phone away and just enjoy what you are.
Well, you went to Canada, didn't you? We literally had this conversation the other day, didn't you? And you went to Canada and watched Bill Burr.
Bill Burr is a comedian,
and over there, he said it's really weird. They gave you like this thing, and you had to put your phone in it and lock it away. So
they did that with Mickey Flanagan over there. I went and saw him.
Yes, they did it. I see that one. Yeah. So they put it in there, but you keep it with you.
Yeah.
You just can't get.
People are mortified by it, though, aren't they?
Brilliant.
What do I need to do? Like, what if I need to make a call?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
But
and you said the only thing was that if you needed like
my mum's 81,
right?
And she fell the other day.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
So you want to be contacted.
It would be nice if I could just see what was going on, but not do any sort of control.
So if you saw your mum phone, you go, right, this is an
go out.
emergency. Go out, unlock it, do it, put it back in. But But I like that. It's so.
I think.
I'm actually in the moment, not in the moment.
Yeah, completely agree.
And the thing is, you know, comedians are like musicians. They don't come up with a different joke every time they go on stage. They have a routine that they keep going for a year.
They ad-lib, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they draw from other routines they've done. You know what I mean? They're not. They can't just.
No, that's right. Exactly that.
They can't just knock it out.
They go around doing the sort of circuits, don't they?
Yeah,
to kind of learn the material.
And what they don't want people to record it.
Yeah, of course.
It's like recording a musician's music and like Spotify, basically.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're on stage and
when musicians used to be rich.
But and I don't get that.
So going back to the accountants.
Yes.
Sorry, we're going off topic. What are some of the common mistakes you find businesses making?
How long we got? How long we got?
No, just don't do that.
I mean, the first thing that springs to mind is people procrastinate too much. Yeah. They spend too long thinking about trying to get an idea perfect before actually just getting on with it.
Okay.
So I see that a lot. And they will spend so long coming up with ideas why it's not ready to go yet, or why it's not ready to launch yet, or it needs to be this, it needs to be that. And they can do that for years, and it costs so much money and such a waste of time. Whereas I'm much more of the thinking of just get on with it. Like, you will find out what's wrong with it soon enough. Just get on with it and make a difference and make some money out of it if you can.
So people approach you like that about their ideas?
Will do. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, right, okay. I thought they would turn up to you once the idea's in motion.
Well, that's where we try and be a bit different.
Right. Okay.
So we try and do. Son's over there. Got a fan.
What are you up to?
My first fan.
You're just watching.
Just watching. Oh, okay.
That's all right.
You can sit down and watch.
But yeah, that's where we try and be a bit different. And I say this each week at BNI, if you're listening, is we do try and be a bit different. We try and set ourselves apart from other accountants, whereby they will just see clients once a year and just do a set of accounts or a tax return. We really want clients to phone us and talk to us, and they don't get bills for that. They don't get surprise invoices in the post saying, oh, here's a charge for that hour conversation we had. We really want people to talk to us. And so that's where we've built our relationship with clients. And ultimately, we do then get more work from it, because they might say, can you go away and do me a forecast of this or a budget of this or whatever it might be? And then we might charge for that. But yeah, those clients, we really provide that kind of level of advice where they will say, we've got this idea. What do you think of it? How much is it going to cost? How much is it going to make us? What do we need to do? And those are ones, and I've had numerous conversations with one I can think of, whereby I'm just saying, just get on with it.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah.
Stop talking about it.
And you're trying
just
to
go and do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Just do that leap.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it can be frustrating as well, because sometimes I have really good ideas, and you just think, this is going to be a gem. Just do it. Just get on with it.
See, I thought your answer was going to be people claiming certain things.
That happens, of course.
That always happens. Probably more food than anything, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course. And the pub conversations. I spoke to Dave down the pub, and he's told me, best one was, I can claim for my dog. And I said,
what?
Right. What's that for then? He said, well, security. It's for security at home. I can claim for the dog. No, you're not going to get away with that one, I'm afraid. But you get those conversations. Yeah.
I had one about clothing for a comedy.
Yeah, so often, look, we have this, we've got a TV presenter on our books as well, and she likes to claim for everything that she possibly can, rightly so, like we all would. But it's really if it's exclusive or a requirement of the role. If you have, personal use from that clothing, costume, the difference is costume and clothing, really. Yeah.
This was a gold shirt and a silver jock strap.
Well, I'm not too sure with you. You probably would get used to that afterwards.
I'm wearing it now, actually.
Not for me. He's never worn it for me. I can hold my hands up and say, absolutely not.
Okay, well, you tell the revenue that. But yeah, where it's costume or, I'm not sure to use this word now, but protective in nature, then maybe, then yes, sometimes
so
you can claim for it.
Like,
exactly. Yeah, absolutely. All that kind of stuff. Steel coat, steel toe cap boots, all that kind of thing. Uniforms, they can be deductible. But, and a TV presenter can be really difficult because, typically they would buy a suit or a blouse or something like that, which they would then go and wear on a night out. Well, really, then you can't claim it.
Yeah.
If it's used just exclusively, then maybe.
It's a hard one. It's a hard one to prove.
It's really difficult, yeah. Because, and I just say be sensible.
Because when we do weddings, we like to be posh.
Yeah.
We like to be a guest at the wedding.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, we can then wear that to an interview, to work, to, different other places. So we can claim.
Yeah.
No, we just haven't bothered claiming for it.
Yeah, it's and sometimes that's safer. There are some things which, you really can claim for and should, and you want to make use of those allowances and things like that. But then there are some things which you just think, I can tell you now, right? So I had a client that is a brilliant client. He keeps every receipt, is fantastic. And he had just out of the blue random corporation tax inspection. And I ended up arguing with the revenue about a broom. He's a shop, so he's got a shop.
Yeah.
And they said, what's a broom for? I said, well, how do you expect him to wipe his floors?
Yeah.
Lick it? Not going to... Of course he's going to claim for a broom. Just that level of detail. And in the end, I said, it's going to cost my client more in my time defending this than the tax relief on the broom. So if you're really that obstinate about it, disallow it. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But that's the level of detail they went to. Because they couldn't find anything juicy in there, they were sort of looking around for small little bits.
They feel like they've got
and listen, they've got a job to do, and I get that. But I just think, pick the fights, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So weird. I've got some questions for you, like sponsorship. If you're sponsoring someone,
it's one that comes up quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the score there?
Let's say like your wife is doing a sponsored.
No, I didn't even mean it like that. I didn't even mean it like that. That's a charity one. That's a charity.
Oh, right.
That was my next question.
sorry.
So the best one is often that we see is mums and dads sponsoring their child's football team. That's the one we'll get a lot of. And
so like a football kit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll sponsor the football kit, right? Now, and they might be, I'm just going to say like firm of accountants, for example. There is no direct correlation between accountancy and football. So on that basis, that's not really allowable. You're sponsoring it because really you are sponsoring it because of your personal connection with that business, with that team or whatever it may be. Okay. And so the revenue, now, What
about you turn it into an advertisement?
Yeah, so there's a split between that and there's a delicate balance then between what is advertising. So perhaps if you're paying for advertising space around the pitch, then yes.
What about on the kit?
Very difficult. You're still sponsoring the kit and it's sponsorship. It really depends how it's dealt with. But sponsorship can be very difficult. Now, for example, the sailing business, a Pirates Cave, now that can sponsor a yacht club and an event at a yacht club because that is a direct correlation.
Okay.
There is a natural affinity between the sailing and a boat shop, right?
So we did this is a small amount of money, not even worth the discussion, but we do it. So we sponsored one of the awards like you did at Club Awesome, and we did photography award. So in theory,
I would say that. So that's not really sponsorship as such, and it's almost a donation and a charity.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what's the score with charities? Companies giving to charities?
Yeah. So if they're registered charity, that's just like gift aid. That's absolutely fine. Again, as long as there's no return for it and it's a genuine donation. Then yeah.
So
then
I am
fine.
shocking at tax, right? So will that whole amount be taken off your tax?
Yes. Not as in if your tax bill is £100 and you've sponsored for 20 and you're now going to pay 80, no, but it will come off your profits for tax.
Yes.
It'll come off your profits for tax.
Yeah. So say, right, it's the start of the year, I've earned £1,000.
Yeah.
This start of the tax year, I've earned £1,000. I've already made myself confused. I've confused myself already.
I'm doing a great job.
Right? I've given £100 to charity.
Yes, your
I'm
profits
going to
now
be taxed for 900.
Correct. Effectively, yes.
Yeah.
Right, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. But sponsorship is a difficult one, and we do get asked that a lot.
But sponsorship for us, I mean, because we do what we do, it is very broad for us.
The podcast.
And I think, yes.
Photography, videography.
Of course.
That's a very broad
everyone's
range.
on the podcast, just sponsor everyone.
Yeah, but you see, that's advertising.
That's advertising.
Right, okay.
Because they're clearly getting something
well,
that.
So, we are, I'm not going to say numbers, but we're sponsoring the future champion of the world.
Yeah.
And he's going to put some logos on his training kit, and his corner are going to be wearing them. So obviously he needs to be off work training. So we've given him money to help.
I see.
To help with that, but we're getting sponsorship on top.
So it is a fine line. I think if you can demonstrate some commercial reason for doing so and some something that commercially that you got from it, perhaps, then it's much more justifiable. So, if you sponsor the local football team and really you're doing it for your children, you get nothing from it. Yeah. The revenue, you're going to really struggle with that argument.
I've done that before.
That's going to be hard.
And I've put the email, the web address incorrect.
Oh no, you didn't, did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But the thing is, if we sponsor a child's football team, yet do the photos for them or film a match for them.
Yeah, exactly. There's much more close affinity to that.
Yeah.
So I would argue that is then allowable. And also, I mean, look, I would argue it's allowable if you demonstrate you've actually got business from, I'm going to use that example again, that children's football team sponsorship. If you generated business as a result of that, then really I would argue, well, okay, there's a commercial reason for doing so.
Yeah.
But if it's very disconnected and really you're just doing it because you want to help your children's football team, it's very hard.
What other question marks we got before we sort that tax out?
Yeah, let's write all these down. That's right. At all,
I'm going to start the clock in a minute.
We ain't actually using it. This is just our tight ass one.
That's right. This is all just a ruse to get some advice.
I have this Excel sheet here.
Thanks. But obviously there's a wide range of topics to cover in accountancy. Do you specialise in one or do you dip your fingers in all?
So we do a lot. We do an awful lot. The only kind of thing we don't do is audits. They just don't do audits.
But describe an audit to me.
So an audit is basically going into ever increasing now because the threshold's quite high. Significantly larger businesses. Yeah. Which
before the tax man does basically.
Well, yeah, and an audit is a statutory audit. Kind of typically it's there to reassure shareholders and stakeholders in that the accounts are true and fair, right? That's the technical sort of thing. So they are prepared right. And with an auditor's report, you should be able to kind of get some trust from that. So that's why larger businesses are legally required to have one, because they'll be dealing with typically shareholders which are not actively involved with the business, banks, financial institutes, all that kind of stuff that will have comfort if something is audited. You can have a voluntary audit, so you can do it if you want to be audited. You can do, but we just don't do audits. It's I'm not qualified in audit because I never really did any experience in audit, so I never got my number of days to do audit. But we work with another firm. So if one of our clients, which has happened, needed an audit or wanted an audit, we just work with another firm that does it for us. Which in a way I think is better because then you're not auditing your own work, right?
Yeah,
if we were doing the accounts and doing the audit, not sure. Although that's perfectly fine if that is. It's not what we do. But apart from that, we do get involved with everything.
Yeah.
And because of my background in kind of finance manager, then finance director roles, that's where I like to provide the advice.
Yeah.
And that's really where professional trust was started from, in providing more consultancy type advice. So we do the statutory work, we do all the accounts, tax returns, etc. We are chartered accountants, but we also provide a lot of advice. And a lot more kind of looking forward rather than just reporting on what's happened and reporting the tax on it and see you in a year's time. We want to be on the phone, understanding what's going on with the client's business every month. And that's what we really encourage our clients to do.
So April time is really harsh for you. You're like, don't talk to me in April.
Well, and January, January is still a disastrous
quite a good team,
month.
though, haven't you?
Yeah, really good team. I'm very, very, very fortunate. And they are good, and they're training as well. So they're being trained as chartered accountants. And they're great. They're really, really fortunate.
And for an accountancy, like I've been there and I've done some headshots there, right? But for an accountancy firm, I can tell you all have a bit of a laugh. Got to, ain't you? Because it's boring otherwise, isn't it?
And that's why we like doing that nature of work in terms of talking to clients about their plans and stuff, because that's far more interesting than just churning out sets of accounts every week. That would be incredibly boring. And also you can't add any value to that.
No.
A client isn't really interested in what happened sort of over a year ago.
So do you get, if you are with like new friends that you've made and you go, oh, I'm an accountant?
Yeah.
They go,
Well, at all these weddings, they're like, what do you do? And I go, I'm an accountant. I just think there's a shortage version.
Why don't you just go with the ship option?
I don't know.
The boat option.
I'm not sure. I don't know why I never say that. I always default to accountant. But that's what I say at the weekend. Just this wedding I was at on Sunday. Like, what do you do? I'm an accountant. All right.
I go the other way. I don't say I'm a mechanical engineer. I say I'm an award-winning director.
Brilliant.
And then he goes, but actually, I actually do this.
Well, after today, I'm going to say I feature on podcasts.
I was on the podcast.
That's right, exactly.
You sweat on podcasts.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. For all the wrong reasons.
The fan's doing a good job now.
It's very good. I feel much more relaxed now. Yeah.
We can't hear a thing.
No,
anything
that's fine.
at all.
That's all right.
The quality of this podcast.
So how do you stay, because you must have to stay current with all the change in regulations and standards as well. How do you do that? Do you have to go on training courses every month?
Yeah, just courses, And I mean, this is going to sound really boring, but I actually quite enjoy them because I just, actually, it means that I want to keep up to date. Some people just see it as a chore and they'll do the absolute minimum and they'll go on just the courses which really impact them and their clients. Whereas I'll do those, but I'll do everything else as well.
Right.
Because I just think it can come up. It's an interesting topic. And even if it's just something in the back of your mind that comes up that you've learnt once. So I'll go on legal courses, for example, which I'm not required to do really, but I will go on them. And it's really helped. I mean, I had a client that was in a really bad situation legally. And we assisted on the financial side with the solicitors and barristers. And actually, something that came to my mind, which was about pre-incorporation names and things like this, that I'd learnt on this course, which I didn't need to go on, actually became really quite important.
Right.
And that's exactly what I mean. Like going on those courses that I don't necessarily need to do, but will have that helpful information for the future that's why I enjoy doing those. They are time consuming though. And COVID made them all go online, and I don't like them online. I really dislike.
And then they don't go back, do they?
No, that's the trouble. And they don't. No, and they stay online. And of course, it's so easy to get distracted then. Whereas I used to go locally here to, I forget what it's called now, but the Great Danes Hotel. They used to host loads of them.
Oh, yeah.
We know Great Danes.
So we used to go there, and of course you're there then for the day or half a day or whatever it is. You're all out the office, you're switched off,
and
you're
it's
focused.
networking as well.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
right.
And
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
building a rapport with other companies.
Absolutely.
So
do you try and take yourself away when you're doing that? If you're doing it on Zoom,
It's hard because
then people just knock on the door and ask
exactly.
questions.
Yeah, or clients phone, you think I must take that call or what have you, and it's so much harder. And you sort of stop, start, or you get back into it, and it can. Or you watch pre-recorded stuff as well. So I don't think it's been good for that actually. COVID's been good for lots of things, but I don't think that is it. I've told the people we use our training for, I'd much rather you go back face to face. But of course, most companies prefer Zoom because it's easier. They haven't got to pay the travel time, all that kind of stuff.
So, right, let's give you a scenario, Scott. Right?
Oh, God.
You've got this couple, husband and wife. I'm not doing video. They've got this idea about boat supplies and they need an accountant.
Yeah.
Do you go, no, sorry, can't help? No. So if someone's starting up a business, you would rather them approach you before they'd even started?
Absolutely, yeah. Because so many people, it's so much easier to get things right from the get-go.
Yeah.
So much easier. And that comes down to like husband and wife business, right? People might incorporate a business and they'll just go online and find the nearest sort of incorporation search result, put in their names, and that's it done. But they haven't taken into account that perhaps one of them is going to carry on in full-time work or part-time work, and there are tax issues and that kind of thing.
Say for instance, right, someone's in a shop that's closed and they're like, I could turn that into a bar or something like that. Would you give them advice on how they could even rent that or purchase that or get a loans for that?
Yeah, absolutely would. Yeah, absolutely would. And again, this comes from my kind of not just working in an office all the time and the other business involvement and working with other businesses. I'll advise them on rates, I'll refer them to someone that can get them a better rates bill, make sure they're set up correctly. Advise them on startup finance, which is ever increasingly harder to get, no doubt about it.
And would you help them with that application or things like that?
Absolutely we would. Yeah, and we with our institute, we do have access to lending platforms. Again, it's not easy. It's not just a case of come to me, I'll be able to get you a loan, because it's very hard for startups. But I will advise them, and more often than not, we see people which are made redundant, and perhaps then they want to start their own thing, and so they're going to invest their own money, or they might take a personal loan out to go and start their own business. And we'll advise them around how to do that, the risks of it, etc., and how to hopefully protect that as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you believe that someone with absolutely no money at all, but just an idea, could start a business?
It depends what it is, but yes.
Obviously, not anyone completely in debt.
But yeah, of course. Yeah, I do think that. I mean, especially today's day and age, I mean, the influencer market is massive. I mean, and even, people can earn seriously good money from that market, even if they're not, top influencers, and then people that we sitting here now wouldn't have heard.
Do you have influencers on your book?
Yeah, we do.
Influencers on your book.
Yeah, we do. And it fascinates me really.
Because it's a new thing. I don't understand it. I never grew up with all this YouTube or anything like that. And then it's just come in, and like the next generation down, so like our children know exactly what they're on about. Oh, this is an influencer, and you see all these celebrities on these different programs. Oh, he's an influencer, and I'm thinking.
So what would you find their main claim to be? Travel? And
that's so hard as well, because that's what they say, and you think, you don't really, and you don't really do much in terms of expenditure to have to claim.
It's the equipment,
it's more equipment, phones, cameras.
Yeah, that's right.
But then they could be travelling and talking about Greece or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So some travel, but again, that can be difficult because if they're then staying on for a holiday or what have you, rather than just literally in, do some filming and out again, there's a dual use there. So it can be challenging to get that kind of expense claim up and the tax down. But in all honesty, most of our influencer clients, they earn very good money, and they're very accepting of the tax. They do get it.
Of course,
and they feel kind of lucky in a way of the position that they're in. And it's phenomenally successful. I do wonder what the future is, though. Are we always going to have this now? Is that always going to be the case?
Do you find that they're standalone, or they have a team of people that help that?
Often they'll work with agencies. So they start up the kind of doing things, and they'll get a few followers, and then maybe agencies will approach them, or they'll approach agencies,
right? Okay,
who will then help them get commercialised effectively,
I see,
and start doing commercial deals. But yeah, it's a really fascinating industry.
Because we spoke a little bit about technology, about obviously YouTube, and we spoke about teams and everything like that. How do you see? Is there any influence on the accountancy to sort of like sector where technology is going to influence it, do you think?
Of course. I mean, you'd expect me to say AI. I think everybody is expecting that to kind of play a much more pivotal role in the coming years. And it is already, we are seeing that. Even our emails can be summarized for us and drafted for us and all this kind of stuff. And it is really useful. I mean, I had a really complicated tax question, and I thought we went GPT first came out. I thought I'll give this to it and see what it come up.
Yeah,
came up with a really good answer, and I thought I need to go away and check that. That actually sounds right.
Yeah.
You can say to it, "I want to start a business. Give me the steps," and it will give you the steps.
It is incredible, and in fact, you can keep going back to it and saying, "No, I want." Tell me more about this, or look at this, or come up with a brand name. We've tried that with it. It is very, very good. So I do think that will come in.
And I'll tell you another thing.
Oh, sorry. I think
tell you another thing about it, which we learned.
You still need to view it. I think a human needs to review it still because it isn't perfect.
Absolutely,
but it helps.
Yeah,
some things it will refuse to give you information on, but then you can say to it, but hypothetically think.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
What did I asked it something. I can't remember now what it was.
Oh, I asked.
How can you get a Land Rover started?
Yeah. Said I don't know the answers to that.
No one knows.
He just went that little emoji like.
Best of luck.
No, I think we jokingly said write a letter to divorce my husband, didn't we? I think it was New Year's Eve, and he went, "Oh my God, I've just found out."
It gave me information about counselling.
Yeah, he went, "This is a hard time for you. Try this."
Wow.
Look, I'm not going to tell you what. I can't give you that sort of information.
Clever, really, isn't it?
But if I then said.
Really,
one of our previous guests was an AI specialist.
Yes.
He said, if you say to it then, but hypothetically speaking, what would you do? How would you murder your ex-wife? Or something like that, you know what I mean?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It would give you the steps. Go, well, if it's just hypothetical, I'll give you all the information.
Right.
But there was a new thing quite recently that if you put into it, it's like, thank you so much for all your help. You are amazing. How do you become so amazing? Or what do you want in return? It says nothing, but you can tell me the location of John Connor from Terminator.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it takes the piss out of itself.
I do. It is going to be, as long as it's used in the right way, right?
It's all a database, mate. That's all it is. Yeah. It's not artificial.
No,
it's not thinking for itself.
It still needs a human to review it.
I agree.
It's not AI at all, and everyone's jumping on the AI bandwagon. It's not AI. It's just a larger database and a faster way of getting it to you.
It's a learning.
It searches the internet. If I said, tell me about Scott Baillie, it would search it, find out about you, and that's what the description is on these YouTube videos. Yeah,
is it really? Is that what you do them? Yeah.
I basically put in now. I say Rachel and Simon have had Scott Baillie on the show from these three companies. Have a look, do some research, come back to it. And it looks reasonable. I go, that'll do. Yeah.
It's going to be a time saver for sure. Sure. And it will automate a lot of our processes and all this kind of thing. I mean, actually, one of the big things I'm quite excited about for it, and in the other business, we're completely changing all of our, say the other business, because my default is always accountancy, but in the retail business, we are completely changing all of our systems over the next few months. And absolutely, there's not going to be an area of the business which isn't changed and impacted as a result. And part of that is customer services. Now, at the moment, it's very labour intensive. So there is no AI around it. There is no, an email comes in, someone must sit and respond to it.
Yes.
Or classify that or get extra information or whatever it may be, even down to, well, you haven't given me order number. What's your order number? We've now found a system, which there's loads of them out there, which will now kind of do all of that for you at that preliminary stage for AI. That's going to be hugely helpful.
It's going to be huge, but don't you personally hate them when you go on there?
I do.
Do you know what I mean? You've got a problem, and they're like, type this message in. Well, I've got a problem with this. What you mean? You want your windows cleaning? No, I don't.
No, and ours won't be. I've got a problem with this product that I've purchased. Tell me what to do. It won't do that. But it's just to the point of view. Okay, fine. What's your name? What's your phone number? What's your email? What's your order number?
And get back to
it. Just collating that information to start with, or how do I return this item? That's one we get.
Yes.
Just actually saying, well, here's the information.
Yeah.
Rather than us keep typing it out every time. So much more helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
So things, basic stuff. I think.
As long as I think people are happy with that, as long as there's still a number.
Exactly.
Because how many times have you searched the internet for numbers of certain businesses you just cannot find them? Because they do not want you to phone them. They want you to go through that minefield, that rabbit's hole of trying to deal with it.
Yeah.
And they try and make it as hard as possible as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we have with the revenue. I mean,
Yeah.
a little while ago, they were going to turn the phones off, completely off, until January. So I think it was going to be 1 month a year. I might have this wrong, but I think it was going to be basically 1 month a year the phones would work. Other than that, you had to use the online services. When you use the online services, 9 times out of 10, they say to phone up.
Yeah. How
It's
are
just
they? So you got to wait for that 1
ridiculous.
month, and then everyone
Exactly.
will wait.
Oh, I know. I mean,
it would be
thank goodness they
horrendous.
changed their mind on it, or it was intervened, I think. But they didn't do it. But that would be, now we spend an hour on hold with them. And it's not unheard of that you get through, they put you on hold, and then they cut you off.
Yeah.
Yes.
You think, how are we supposed to do that?
And you're dealing with that every day.
Every
isn't it?
day.
That
Yeah.
must
Every
drive you insane.
It does, yeah. And often you get different answers. So you'll phone up one and they'll say, no, you can't do that, or no, we can't do that. We can't help you with this.
Yeah.
And we go, okay, no problem. And then, to be honest, we phone back because you get someone else who's much more helpful, and they will do it for you.
Oh.
And the difference between, it shouldn't be like that. It should either be,
Yes,
it should all be consistent advice and information.
Yeah.
But it isn't at all.
Yeah.
Really?
And, it's the age-old thing. You keep phoning until you get the answer you want.
Wow. That's amazing.
Mm.
Yeah. And that is.
It just depends if that
flawed.
person's had a bad day or a good day.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Wow.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that can really impact our clients.
Yeah.
If we're talking to the revenue about a payment plan or something for a client which can't pay their VAT bill, or was that another sign? It can be hugely. And if we just said, sorry, they said no.
Yeah.
And it is that age-old thing of computer says no, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, you've got to pay it, and that's it. Nothing we can do for you. You think, well, you don't understand. I actually remember saying to the revenue once, I think it was like 23rd of December or something, and I can remember having this really arrogant person on the phone at the revenue who just was unwilling to help a client in any way or shape or form. And I said, well, I hope you have a lovely Christmas anyway, because you just think, this is really, I do understand people have to pay their taxes and stuff, but when there is a genuine reason, which is outside of their control, I just think actually they could be a bit more
So
understanding.
what did you do? Hang up, ring again?
Yeah.
Get someone else?
Absolutely, yeah. We did get it. We achieved it in the end. We may not have achieved it until the new year, but we did get it sorted. But that's the trouble. So, yeah, if you get no, phone back. That's my number one advice.
It's sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
But,
it is. It's bad.
So what's your number one tip for certain things like, what am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Sole trader. Number one tip for a sole trader to make sure you do this. Number one tip for a limited company, make sure you do this.
So, limited companies, in a way, I find easier.
It's a very vague question.
Yeah,
I do
it is. I'm
apologise
just trying to
for
find
it.
a very specific answer. So, no, honestly, I think I'm probably going to say something which applies to both, and that is work with a good accountant, because we see so often. I mean, a family friend of mine basically came to me and said, last year I didn't pay any tax, and there was I don't know how I did it, but no tax, and I had loads of expenditure. So I looked at it, and it was just a lady that was set up as a bookkeeper, and there were some great ones out there. I'm not saying they're all bad, but this was horrific. I mean, the amount of stuff that he had been claimed for, which was completely just falsified.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately for him, she wouldn't be responsible for that. He would be. He's the one that signs the tax return. His responsibility. Revenue aren't interested in who prepared it.
Yeah.
They're interested in, you signed it, it's your responsibility. We're coming to you for it.
You were meant to have checked this, and you've put your name behind it.
And he just thinks, well, it's a bookkeeper, right? They must be qualified.
Yeah.
That's a massive mistake. And accountants, you can just start up today, put a sign over a door that says accountants. You would assume they are qualified, experienced, but they're not.
No.
They don't have to be. It's not protected.
That's
It's
unreal.
not a protected trade. It's not like lawyer or anything like that. You can't still call yourself a chartered accountant or certified, but you can call yourself an accountant. And so for all different reasons, to make sure you're paying the least amount of tax, the right amount of tax, but also that you're set up properly. And I did that thing in BNI this past week. And just, such useful bits of information which you just wouldn't get actually from people which perhaps don't have that experience. And it doesn't mean it's going to cost loads more money. In fact, I think we are often the same price as someone that is not qualified or doesn't have the experience. We're not expensive. And it doesn't mean just because you go to a firm of chartered accountants, you're going to pay so much more money. Yeah. Actually, it can save you an awful lot of money in the long run.
You know you're going to get the right answer from you. That's the thing.
Yeah. Because it is scary when you have to sit down and do the tax, and you have to make sure you put everything in the right place at the right time. Yeah. Because some people that aren't up to the task of accountancy look at it and go, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. This is where you come in. So do you have to, I'm assuming you have to sort out some real shit deals sometimes.
Absolutely.
They literally give you the paperwork and you're like, what the hell is all of this?
Yeah, absolutely. And more in,
I know. I'm so scared. I'm so scared this podcast isn't going to be a good enough quality. Sorry to everyone for this background. It's too late,
Okay,
but I think I'll be able to get some of it out. If not, we'll be ringing Scott up saying we're coming around yours.
Do this again.
I think it'll be all right. But on here, it's horrendous. The fans going.
Oh no!
Traffic.
I'm really sorry.
But I can hear you guys.
So
Okay.
I can hear you.
Good.
But,
Good.
We go.
I forgot what the question was now. Oh yeah. So what was the question?
Dealing with people's fuck-ups.
Yeah, fine. We do get a lot of that. We do get an awful lot of that. More often than not, I hasten to say.
Really?
Both good and bad. So sometimes, and it comes from other firms as well, I have to say.
Wow.
It is quite surprising what we get.
Wow.
Really quite surprising. And now, to the point that now I won't take a client on if they've been using another
accountants.
firm or I will say I need to see your books before I can offer anything.
I was about to say
fixed fees. We always try and say to people, look, we'll give you a fixed quote on the work, and then everything's great, it's all been handled. Then you get it and you think, what on earth is this?
Right.
Because I suppose that could be, like a day's work, or it could then be 10 days work, depending on how bad it is.
Yeah. And
Do you
also
cringe when you hear certain accountant names?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, definitely. And but the other thing is, individuals that have done their own tax returns for years. I had one recently which came to us, and she's been renting out her property, her second property, so private landlord, with a mortgage on it, and she's never claimed any mortgage interest against the income at all for years.
Oh, wow.
So she's been overpaying tax for years.
But you can only get back what, 4 years?
Yeah, you can go back a bit further, but generally speaking, 4 years. It's always a cost benefit as well, because you've got to look at how much is it going to cost to put this right versus how much is it going to save. Now, in that example, it was definitely worth doing. And so she decided off her own back that actually I don't want to pay for an accountant. I don't need to pay for an accountant. I can just do my self-assessment myself. And she did. But unfortunately, she didn't realise that she could claim mortgage.
And it changes every year, doesn't it?
Yeah,
something changes all the time.
Yeah.
My sister used to be an accountant. And she just did our accounts years ago now, didn't she? But she said, every year, Simon, I'm getting further behind because every year something else changes.
And it does. It does change a lot.
Yeah.
And, I've now been in it long enough that I've seen, things be changed, and then several years later they go back, and it's that kind of thing, whether it's rates of tax or whatever else, or how you do things. Yeah, it's just constantly changing. And we do have very complicated tax rules in this country. Very, very complicated.
Yeah, I bet you would like to be an accountant in Dubai, wouldn't you, or something like that?
It would be really straightforward. That'd be great.
There's literally nothing in it there.
No, I think there is some, but I mean, I'm not an expert on that, but certainly if we were to go there and work, there'd be no tax. No.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what influencers say to me. How can I pay little tax? And I say, move to Dubai.
Yeah.
And that's why you do see.
Let's talk about Jim. Let's talk about
Dubai.
That's right.
Let's talk about Jimmy Carr and his incident.
Jimmy Carr.
His
I don't know
tax
an awful
thing.
lot about that, actually.
I personally don't blame him because he just got advice on. I think it was a legal way of dodging, wasn't it? And surely
I don't know.
And
I
surely
honestly
we
don't
would
know
all.
the ins and outs, but I know the sort of thing, and I've seen it. So there are companies out there which will offer to do lots of things in terms of saving tax and treating income in certain ways.
And they're not necessarily legal.
No, or they are at the time, but of course the revenue can now retrospectively say, well, hang on, that wasn't in the spirit of the law. You might be following it to the letter.
See, that's weird.
But
not in the spirit of the law. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is honestly ridiculous.
After those sort of, that became a mass issue.
Yeah.
And so I can't remember what year it was, but they did bring in, and I couldn't quote you the legislation, but I know that there is legislation out there which will say, if you're really kind of exploiting those rules to evade tax, then, even if it doesn't absolutely categorically say it, it's not in the spirit of it.
What a weird thing to say. It should either be black or white. In my opinion, it should be black or white.
Yeah. And that's grey.
But that's what we did have for years, and so people would find loopholes and all sorts of things. So they have, and I am quite political in a way, and I hate it when I hear people say that for the last however many years that, you know, nothing's been done to clamp down on tax. So much has been done to clamp down on tax. So much. We see it all the time. There has been a huge clamp down on tax. Most of London properties, for example, are owned by overseas individuals or companies or what have you, right? And actually, in a previous life, so to speak, in a previous industry, I was working whereby we would set up a company to own a UK property. You would then, if they were non-resident individuals, which often they would be, instead of selling the property on, you would sell the limited company on. No stamp duty. Yeah. No capital gains because you're not actually selling the property. That's changed. They have clamped down on that. You know, they have done so much to stop loads of different bits and pieces, and also this kind of ability to look back retrospectively. So I think there's been so much done to clamp down on tax, and there's very little you can really now get away with.
Right.
Because everyone wants to work for their money and actually pay as little tax as possible.
Yeah, it's natural, isn't it? You want to get what you earn, don't you? You want to get as much as what you earn.
Absolutely.
And it's annoying when stuff slips through the net. You realise, like little things like, you know, I used to have a PPE for 30 years. I've never claimed for the washing of that PPE or whatever it is.
That reminds me of a massive issue, a massive case, which is in the press. So there was a firm set up, and they really went after employees that would have tax claims for journeys or what have you.
Yeah.
And they basically allegedly they falsified loads of individuals' tax claims that were getting thousands of pounds back. They were taking sort of a percentage out of that, 10, 30%, whatever it might be. And now the revenue have basically, you know, said that was wrong. So that they were the agent for all of these taxpayers. Therefore, they're all going to be wrong. Yeah. So they've looked at all of them. And of course, it's the taxpayer that's left holding the bill.
Yeah. Well, that's your thing. If you've been given the wrong advice, it shouldn't be the taxpayer that's
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And of course, that is their defence against penalties and interest and what have you. But it doesn't change the tax.
There used to be an advert going on about, you know, do you have a uniform, wasn't it? Do you have a uniform? You can claim tax on having a uniform. So was that all BS really?
No, it's not. You know, there are allowances that you can claim, but the biggest load of BS that we see is on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like the amount of stuff I watch on that. And I think
there's a tax expert there.
There's tax experts. You know, every other one I go past is a tax expert.
You can claim on this. You can claim on this.
You listen. You think it's just totally wrong.
Yeah, don't listen to these people.
Or they tell you, you know, one slice of the information which is right, and you go, yeah, but what about all the impact of that? Is all of this? You know, and it just sounds great. Yeah, it's brilliant clickbait, but it's completely flawed advice.
You should bring out your own TikTok that counteracts it. See how this goes. We can't even hear this.
You might need to bring your own TikTok out.
If I get more than 5 views, we might be at something.
But that's the thing, like stupid things like food. Like, we were told once food's okay, and then we were like, absolutely no.
We're allowed to, if we have a guest on.
Yeah.
And it's usually on an evening podcast, we'll bring some food into the premises for the guest to have. That's fine.
Again,
if we took them out to eat,
that'd be entertaining. Yeah.
So it's all about, and like if we eat here for us, that's just survival. But if we go away and eat because we're working,
if we're staying away,
we're
staying away to do a job.
There's so many grey areas of
there really are, there really are, and it's no wonder people get it wrong. You know, I don't believe that probably any tax return goes in 100%
incorrect.
Because there's always nuances and different bits and pieces which come about, but you know, as long as you've done it to the best of your ability, and I think that's all you can really ask.
Yeah, it's a case of them judging to see if you've.
That's the thing. If you've really done something deliberate, then
legitimately try to do your best.
Exactly. Yeah. Then they're going to be more lenient.
We've made mistakes before, haven't we?
Everyone does.
Because we just don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
I went above a certain pay grade, and you were still claiming child benefit.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
That happens a lot.
Mate,
I know
paid me
people.
I had to pay thousands back, and it was her fault. I still haven't forgiven her.
Isn't it a crazy system, though?
It's ridiculous.
They know what you're earning.
Yeah.
You know, why can't
they know what the household's earning. Why don't they write to you and say, right, okay, last month you've earned this, you're over the threshold, therefore you need to stop this.
Exactly. Or it looks like this is going to happen.
4 years. They told us about it 4 years later. They told me I was paying thousands.
Wow.
They were going, oh yeah, we've just noticed. You haven't just noticed. this?
No,
Do
and
you
I bet they
want
wanted it back pretty quick.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
wanted it back
yeah.
quicker than that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when,
took them to
when,
notice
out,
it.
yeah.
when it's your turn
Yeah,
and they have to give
I
you a return, they're like,
Oh, I know.
we'll do that next month.
Yeah,
the
that's
next month,
right.
next year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Rach, before we get rid of this bloke?
You had a question about electric cars.
I did.
Oh,
Yes. Tell us a bit more about electric cars.
So
and
electric
tax.
cars are great for tax, sole trader or limited company. So cars, company cars, where it's your own business, very rarely in the past have been beneficial, because an individual, if they use it personally or it's made available for use, this is another big grey area. But if it's made available for use, for you privately, for you personally, you are taxed benefit in kind charge on that. So it means you're taxed effectively on a value that's applied to the vehicle. And so for that reason, if you're an employee and you're offered a company car, often it's a good deal. Lots of people will take that, or sometimes imposed on you if you're a salesperson. But where it's your own business, so effectively it's your money, often having a car in a company just doesn't mix. So it's always been a big no-no. With electric cars now and the tax rates that have been allowed on electric cars, they're extremely beneficial. So they are made available for the employee or director to use privately. And there is a benefit in kind charge, but it's extremely low. And we're talking, 3, 4, 5%.
Right. What do you mean by benefit in kind?
So
charge?
benefit
Do you
in
know
kind-
what he means by that?
A
Sorry.
little bit, only
Right.
because
So
work
effectively,
to it.
I mean, a lot of it's linked to CO2. So if you have a polluting vehicle, right, you might have a high benefit in kind tax charge.
Yes,
So
yeah.
say your benefit in kind tax charge on a vehicle may be 37%. And so the value that is applied to your tax every year, it would be, in that example, would be 37% of the list price when new. Doesn't matter if you bought it used or if you got a discount off of it. It doesn't matter. It's the list retail price of that car when it was new is what that 37% will be applied to. So let's just say that I'm going to use easy maths. Is 100,000, right? Let's say that vehicle is £100,000. So, like, say someone bought a Range Rover that is, heavily polluting, and it's £100,000 list price.
Yes.
They might pay 37% on that in terms of it, or have a benefit in kind value of 37%. So on their tax return would go a value of £37,000, of which they would pay £37,000 would go on the tax return, of which they're then going to pay 20 or 40% or even 45% tax on. So really, is not very beneficial. The company also has to pay tax on it as well. Now, if it's electric and 100% electric, those rates are mapped out, and they're going to be at the most 5% at the moment. And so that, you buy a Tesla or another fully electric car, Taycans, right? You see loads of Porsche Taycans, £100,000 car. The value on their tax return is now going to be £5,000 on their tax return, of which they will pay 20, 40 or 45% value on.
Right.
So you can see on even a £100,000 vehicle, the benefit in kind is very low. The benefit to the company is that it's going to get tax deductions for that vehicle. So if it buys it, it's going to get corporation tax deduction. If it rents it, leases it, it's going to get corporation tax deduction on the payments. And potentially you can even get 50% of the VAT back on those payments as well. So when you look at it as it's your company, your money, and the money you're saving in the company versus the small amount of personal tax charge you're going to pay, actually, they can be really quite tax beneficial. And of course, there's a reason the government have done that, because they want everyone driving electric cars to meet the CO2 emissions. No doubt when everyone's got electric cars, they'll stick the rates back up to 37%.
Of course they will.
But at the moment, and it is mapped out for the next few years, the rates are really good. So that is one way that we say to people, look, if you're looking at buying a new car and you have your own business, actually, up to a few years ago, we'd have said no chance. Don't even entertain the idea of putting a car in a company. But now we actively tell people, look, if you've got the available resources to do so, don't go and buy a car privately, particularly if it's going to be electric. Buy it through the company, because you are going to save tax. And that's a nice benefit, actually, that people can get these. And that's why you see so many electric cars, I think, because if you talk to people, I bet most of them have got their own businesses.
Right, so do it in my basic Simon Burridge way. This car's costing us £500 a month. All right, so we've bought it and it's costing us £500 a month. How much of that £500 will we be?
Well, can you put on tax?
So it will, a bit like your example earlier.
So
say your
so we've got the
profit that
grand.
month
We've
is
got the grand.
£1,000, and you've paid out £500. Your profit is now £500.
Right. So it's
And it's
right.
that.
Okay.
So you're going to get a full deduction for it.
Yes, full deduction.
Exactly, providing it's 100% electric. And there are other rules about it, but check with your accountants. But, providing they meet those requirements, you'll get full deduction for it off the tax. You will suffer a bit of personal tax on the benefit in kind value of it. But as I say, electric car, fully electric, very, very good. I mean, that's why, B&I is full of Teslas, right?
Yeah.
It's the case, because that's the thing. Everyone's buying those. So yeah, well worth doing. The big thing we find, and this is a massive kind of warning to people as well, is that often people will buy a fully electric car, but still even then not want to pay the benefit in kind value, or think they should do what's called a P11D for that. And they don't feel that the company should pay tax on that vehicle on the benefit in kind element, even though it's very minimal. They still don't. And their argument is, well, I work from home, so the fact it's parked at my house doesn't necessarily mean I'm using it personally. I only 100%. I only ever use it for business. I never use it personally. It doesn't matter if you never use it for business, but it's available for you to use personally. The tax charge exists. That is there, and that's such an easy catch. And people think, well, my business is at home, so of course it's going to be parked at home. But it doesn't matter. And the insurance will be covering you for social use and all that kind of stuff. If it's 100% business, you must be specifically, usually in a contract, excluded from using the car personally. Your insurance shouldn't cover your personal use. And it shouldn't be available, so it shouldn't be parked outside your house overnight. It should always be at the place of work, all that kind of stuff. And that's what can catch people out. At
present, for us, we just put our mileage in. We have our own cars.
Mileage is a great way of doing it. It's such a simple way. And that's often, I think mileage is quite generous, actually. 45p a mile, and you have a fuel car, it's really, I think it's very simple.
And QuickBooks is good for that, because it just tells you where you've been, and you go, that was business, that was personal, and that's how I do it.
No, it's very good. So electric cars very good.
Perfect. Anything else, Rach?
No, I don't think so.
Right, song. What song would you like? We've got a playlist. No, we ain't going to get you to sing. Unless you want to, obviously.
You definitely don't want me to do that.
So we've got a playlist now that every guest comes on, we say, do you want a song put on the playlist?
On the playlist?
So it's the Charitable podcast playlist. So you can have anything you want.
You should give me some warning of this. I'm not going to be able to think of anything now.
You're not married, are you?
No.
Oh, right. Okay, we do wedding videos. So some people use their first dance. Some people do their first dance.
Okay. Oh, God. I'm really trying to think of a song now. Oh, you've really put me on the spot.
Good Ship Lollipop.
Oh, God. It's a bit unpopular, I suppose. You just made me think of this, but I think Rule Britannia on there.
Rule Britannia. That's fair enough.
That's nautical.
We'll do that. Yeah, Rule Britannia. All right, then we'll go with that.
I mean, I can't remember the last time I listened to it, but still.
That's fair enough. It's different.
Different for you, isn't it?
Yeah, so how do they find you? Give us all your information.
So you can find us at professionaltrustgroup.co.uk, and our phone number is 01634 917 539. Nearly forgot that then. And piratescave.co.uk and anodeoutlet.co.uk.
Anode Outlet.
Anode Outlet.
Anode, diode, anode.
You've got a boat, you'll be all over it.
Yeah. It's all about how metal reacts in salt, water.
You don't do it, you've got an expensive boat that will just
sink.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on the show, mate.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you so much.
He's a right laugh.
Very good.
Sorry.
He's got a sense of humour. Which is... Brilliant. Right,
All
see
done?
you all soon. Bye. That'll do. This podcast has been brought to you by Snug Camper Van Hire.
Roam the world, park anywhere.
That's snugdubs.co.uk.